e-commerce, developed successful companies, was in Fortune magazine, spoke at IRCE. So I have a background in e-commerce, about 15 years. And then about 5 years ago, we came up with the idea of all of the disasters that I experienced. We decided that those probably aren't unique to Accomatize, or, so that we would take out what we've learned from my experiences. And so anyways, experiences learned in e-commerce, took them, created Accomatize, and pretty much we could spend an hour on every single detail, but everything we hated about e-commerce or what made it difficult, integrations, website development, digital marketing, hosting, custom sites and stuff. And we look at websites with an ROI perspective. Basically, I think they should be a business tool to achieve business goals, not just a money pit. And that's pretty much where we started. Now our client list goes everywhere from clients like Nintendo, Miller Coors, on down to 1-2 store brick and mortar stores, startup companies. So we cover the spectrum as far as client base. And that's Accomatize. And pretty much we build the sites and then help you try to make them successful and not be money pits. So that's pretty much our goal.
So I'll add one word, and really besides the expertise, the technical expertise, the sophistication of back-end integration tools that they have, their knowledge, the diversity of the clients they work with, the one word that really struck our fancy when we decided to form an alliance with them is affordable. And we've already gotten them engaged in a client or two to help salvage websites that were $150,000, $200,000 and growing and still weren't working, which is pretty common in this business. So of all the wonderful things Jake and Mike have done with Accomatize, the reason that we decided they're going to be great partners with us to introduce to our clients is affordable. As Jake said, you shouldn't spend $1 more on anything on a website that you don't know isn't going to drive business. All right? So I'm going to put the question to the table for anyone that's brave enough to answer. Can anyone tell me who likes their current website?
We like it, but we're always open to improvement on it over there. One thing that we're an informational website. We're not an e-commerce website. So it would be nice if we could integrate our website so that we also are educational, but also be able to have our clients order. I have ideas that I'd like to have on as promotional items, and so on and so forth, the driving people to our website with that. Mm-hmm. But right now, our website is strictly educational.
Okay. All right. Not sure who's on the call. We don't have a list of attendees, just the count. So I'm going to randomly click through folks who are attending this webinar today and some of the websites that we put up of the companies. So if this is your website, shout out. Sean, you there? All right, so these are random samples of the websites for people who RSVP today. Again, if anybody wants to comment on their website, anyone wants to comment?
I will comment.
Okay, who's that?
Yeah, Tom Ferris again.
Okay.
So I like what I'm seeing here in regards to the different configurations of each of the websites. Are these obviously they're proprietary to the person who owns them. What can we do to send to our clients and say, okay, here's some examples of what we do. Check these out, and let's move on to building a website, e-commerce website for you. Fair enough?
So actually, this example I have up here right now, it's Prime Sports. Manuel, I'm not sure if you're on or not. Actually, I tell you what, I'll do it a different way. So I'll come back to this a little bit later, but what you just suggested, Tom, is actually what we've started to do with some of our clients. I'll show you one quick example here real quickly. So a common question. I have a website. This one happens to be Schuylkill Valley Sports, so don't tell them that I showed it to you. And we offered them the opportunity to add a component to their website that spoke specifically about online ordering, online stores, custom designed stores. So this is something we developed, and I'll cover that at the end of the seminar. This is something we developed that's an add-on to a current client's website that helps them sell the concept of online ordering. So I'm going to come back to this a little bit later, okay? So what they do is they link some of the TUO stores that they use, that they set up. They select certain ones and they make them available on their website. So the team stores are linked to their website, and when the club or team goes to their website, they are in fact taken directly to the online TUO storefront.
Okay.
So that's very common as well.
Okay.
All right. Now that gets into a little bit more of the what we call the integration. How do I link my website, what Jake and Mike are doing with TUO? And it goes back to the number one reason we're having this webinar today, is that the folks on this call between TUO and Ecomitize know exactly how to do that, know how to make it work, know how an e-commerce platform can work with a website. So what I'm going to do, Jake, I'm going to put you back on the spot. Randomly click through some sample sites that you have set up. And if you don't mind, talk about some of the key components. What were the success criteria? What are some of the different purposes of the sites? Tom and Chris mentioned that the primary use of their website is to inform, which is terrific, and I'll come back to that comment in a second. But there are certainly other primary reasons why websites are set up. So you guide me, Jacob, and tell me which ones you want me to click on.
You know, this is a fine example. So this company actually had 8 locations. They had, you know, across the United States. They had pretty much no e-commerce. They're selling women's cosmetics, so everyone says their industry is competitive. I can assure you there's probably nothing more competitive in the world than selling women's products, especially cosmetics or clothing. These guys have a pricing model that is higher than the average person, so they are not, you know, a discount store. So they came in with some competitive challenges. Their CEO, so they had a very slow starting point, and I think these guys really are one of our better models of, you know, everyone thinks e-commerce is hard. It is not. That's the first thing. What you have to do is kind of set up the fundamentals. These guys researched. They went out. They figured out this research takes a couple weeks. Doesn't take a lot of money. Figured out what they wanted to build. If you were to roll around the site, you'd see landing pages, and I won't go into, you know, site architecture and things like that. It's important, I guess I would say. And then I would say site architecture is kind of like building a house. You want to have your blueprints first. It saves a lot of money. These guys used a template site, which you're looking at right now, saved a ton of money on development. They were live within 3 months. They hit 4th quarter. Then they continued to work on their site by doing what we call conversion rate optimization. So that's looking at numbers. The question was asked before, if you guys like your site. I usually have very little weight on if the owners or the project managers like or dislike something. Your opinion or my opinion really has no bearing, I like to say. What I like to say is what analytics say the customer likes. So if we change aesthetics or we change site functionality or we change where the integrations to other features like TU are at, does that actually increase numbers and increase money? So pretty much we look at websites as data-driven. So the pictures, all of that is irrelevant to us. We look at bounce rates, conversion rates, things like that. These guys did a great job. They continued over the course of a year to optimize their site, improve conversions, enhance their email digital marketing, and that's really that's where you want to get out of the front development side is cheap, and that is probably the correct word. You want to get a trusted company that knows what they're doing, that has actual references that you can talk to that have actually succeeded. Get in there, get it built, but get it built as affordable as possible so you can save your money for marketing, which actually should make you money. So these guys are a prime example of success. They strategized. They were live within 3 to 4 months at the most, and then they just went down into execution. Their site today is, you know, they're doing well over their sales are rather significant at this point. So, and they escalated literally from 0 to go within about 6 months. So these guys are a great example.
All right, how about this
template
one?
Site, low cost. This site looks simple. Jerry liked it, and it's a protein store. These guys were actually one of the more complex builds for us. This goes into some bigger sites. This is like a 40 store franchise across Canada and maybe the United States. They wanted pick up in store. Each store has its own inventory. They had integrations into ERP systems, everything else. Again, these guys went from zero. They have no online sales. They're a franchisee model. This was their first stab at it. Went live, I think, in January of this year, and it's been very successful as well. So this would be any of these sites. If you want your site to look like this site, that is no problem. Again, the aesthetics of the site really have no bearing. This project was bigger and more expensive only because of the integrations on the back end. But Cosbar, Supplement King, any of these, aesthetically doesn't really matter.
So a key to that, the reason that I particularly like this case study and the work that they did is because besides the front-end website that you see, the sophistication of the back-end integration. We have a fancy slide for that, but Team Uniform Orders more and more frequently, the last year and a half to 2 years, is a part of an ecosystem. Team Uniform Orders, e-commerce for teams, corporate apparel stores, drives a certain amount of business. It's a channel for a client. The number two question we get is, how can I tie together in an omni-channel view of my business? Websites should be driving business, not in all cases, but you know what? As long as someone's paying you a visit, if you want to give an opportunity to transact some business, great. So headline on this particular case study that Jacob was showing is the degree to which the back-end integration, the complicated back-end integration, which really isn't that complicated, but the degree to which this is kind of the tip of the iceberg to all of the sophisticated tools that are happening behind: inventory control, accounting, apportioning by franchisee. So there's a lot of sophisticated stuff in the back end. And again, I say that because more and more we're being asked to consult and work with our clients to help get there, what we call a unified dealership view. And folks like Ecomitize, Mike and Jacob, they're helping us do that. Let's do one more if you want. Do you want to do one more? Girl Scouts?
Yeah, Girl Scouts, actually another one. This site, and I would go back to, this is the Girl Scouts site where they sell stuff internally to their scouts. This is a great example too. This is a very low cost website, literally I think under 4,000. So you can cover the spectrum. I think that's kind of the key. People think that if they spend more on websites, they can get more. That's not the case. That is digital agencies selling you, doing what they do, and they want to sell tickets and time. Our model, and that's why we work with different clients across the base, is build you a website that you need. And what is need is checkout needs to work. Website needs to be fast, needs to be mobile responsive, and it needs to have any core integrations. This is integrated into their inventory system. And that's pretty much what they need, and they execute with this. Supplement King needed a little bit bigger integration on the back end. Cosbar needed just one integration, but since we started, they've grown out, and now they have delivery trucks and everything else. I mean, literally, they went from 0 to 100 very quickly. So that's kind of the key with these websites is it doesn't matter if it's a small site or not. It's what do you need to get to market as quick as possible. You're all sitting on inventory. You're all sitting on goods. You all have, probably integrations with TU and other functionality. How do you tie them all together as quick as you can so you can start making money? My last point too would be there's a lot of informational sites out there, restaurant sites, lawyer sites, lawn mowing company sites that are non-transactional. But I would challenge anyone nowadays that even if you go to a restaurant and you're going with your wife or your fiance or whatever it might be, most people are checking a restaurant, how far away it is, what's on the menu, before they ever decide to go. Or a lawn company, what are your references, what are your rates? So sites, and you can use those local sites to digitally market your stores. Somebody searches for you within a search radius of where your store is located to show them your address. Your informational sites or your business sites do an awful lot of talking for your business and decide, nobody's going to go to a nursery or a hardware store unless they're pretty sure the products they have are there. So I even challenge people that don't do transactional business to really take a look at their website and, how is that website helping you drive traffic to your front door of your business?
Mm-hmm. Well put. What I'm going to do is segue back here. I'm going to go call up because you hit on a couple subjects. I'm going to very briefly go through. So Jake mentioned, and that's one of the first determinations. In a previous life, I was part of a business, so we did hundreds of websites a year. And one of the first things we would do with clients is say, decide internally, as Jake just pointed out, what is the overall goal of your website? So first and foremost, no matter what you do, if it's a transactional site, personal opinion, make sure that you're branding your company. What is the reason someone wants to work with you? I think a common mistake in this industry is that too many websites are branding to the brand they sell, Adidas, Nike, Under Armour, Augusta Holloway, and you really can't tell one site from another because it's so prominently populated with products that they sell, and they lose the opportunity to establish, why am I doing business with you? Tom and Chris, you mentioned inform and engage, all key elements. However, I'll add, and I'm not commenting on your website specifically, there are very interesting ways that you can engage people while informing them. I think another common mistake is that the way I will inform them is if a website, I could print it out and I could put it on a brochure. That's a missed opportunity. I can inform somebody with a pop-up 30-second, 15-second, 5-second video and explain to them, engage them, and explain to them why me, why we're different. On the right side, certainly what Jake has talked about. A website, no matter what, needs to have a component of driving your business. Generating leads, make it easy for someone to take the next step. Even we've worked with a couple clients, and as I mentioned previously, setting up simple tools to allow that person to actually do something, see what an online store looks like, set up their own online store, and then reach out and say, you know what, I want an online store built for me from your company. And certainly transact, as Jake pointed out, much more articulately than I did. So next what I'm going to do is actually skip ahead a little bit, because Jake, you also mentioned a very important part, probably the most important part. I'm going to go back to this one here. Often websites, I can name 5 examples of current clients that we've either indirectly or directly helped on some website development in the last couple of years. In some cases, over $200,000 spent, and all the focus, time, attention, money was gone into the website. And then the next question was, okay, how do I get people to come to my website? As Jake pointed out, again, more articulately than I did, don't spend all your money in your website. Don't build a billboard on the moon, which is that visual that's on the screen. Just drop $200,000 in a website and no one has a clue it's out there. So Jake, if you don't mind, put you on the spot again for a few. Some of the most common techniques both that your company offers, as well as how you fit a website into an ecosystem, a marketing ecosystem.
Sure. So, yeah, first point is if you spend $200,000 on a website, you need $201,000 to get back to a positive ROI. So obviously we want to keep those costs down. And then how do we do that? First thing, again, I don't care if it's the small site like the Girl Scouts of America site, and I mean small in dollar terms, or a large project like Supplement King. The point is, and most of these dollars really, the expenditure should be spent on if you have crazy custom integrations or big ERP systems. So all of that aside, how do you make money? Research. Know what you're doing. What do you sell? Do you have hard goods? Is it uniforms? What exactly is in your store? Where's your inventory? What do you sell? What is your client base searching for on the internet? That drives landing pages. And I don't want to, I know we're on a timeline, so I don't want to go too far, but we would help you create landing pages. Landing pages are places where you set your products that you can send digital marketing ads to. They're longer tail search terms, cheaper to drive digital marketing. You might have a unique product that has a chance at organic or SEO search terms. Mm-hmm. You might have a highly competitive product that lots of people sell, like Cosbar. They did not spend any money on SEO because they figured they weren't going to win. So why would they waste their money there? So figure out your strategy in the beginning. That is the biggest. That's a little bit of spend to save a lot of money. The next place is go to a development company that has actually done it and has client bases, better and people that you can talk to, business owners, and say, hey, are these guys for real? Can they actually do it? And are the costs? There's all sorts of proposals and things you'll do. People will give low quotes to get you in, and then all of a sudden the hours are gone. You have to be careful of those pitfalls, because that is the biggest money pit. That's where you lose all the wind in your sales. Be as cheap Let your business entrepreneurship take over. Be frugal. Do your research. Find a good development company. Save money on the development side. That Cosbar site was, it was a fraction. Like, it was way, way, way below $30,000, and it has generated a massive return. Now, they've continued to invest in the website as it makes money, but the initial launch was nothing compared to what the return was. They saved all of their money for the final part, which is from the research you do in the beginning. You should have a good idea of, okay, what's my estimated return on ad spend for digital marketing? And then the key here is leverage what you have. What inventory do you have? What infrastructure do you have? What partnerships do you have? Use all of those systems. The website should just be an extension of it. Don't reinvent yourself. Have your uniforms up for sale, have your goods, integrate with your POS system, whatever it might be. The website should just be an extension. And we will know from the beginning research part where to invest the marketing dollars that'll drive the business. So at the very beginning, after the research is done, you should know what the cost of the website's going to be. You should have an idea of what it's going to take on a marketing dollar standpoint to get you to the ROI you want. Most people think, we call it field of dreams, where some people think if they spend 10,000, 20, 100, whatever the number is big in their mind, if they spend this on a website, that people are going to come. That is, the billboard on the moon is a perfect example. You can build a $100,000 website and nobody's going to come to it unless you do something about it. And that's kind of the key. So those are kind of the 1, 2, 3 steps. Research,
Perfect.
Spend a tiny bit of money, save your money on development, and then it really boils down to execution. The fourth little caveat I would throw in there, what we see with a lot of brick and mortar locations, generally your prime revenue source is your store or something like that. Sometimes these companies are prone to, the owner raises his hand and says, oh, I'll do the website. Owners are really good at saying they'll do it and actually kind of poor at executing at 100%. You guys are, and gals are really good at executing at 70% completion rates, and then you're on to the next project. So usually details are loose, or somebody in the warehouse or somebody makes incidental eye contact with you, and they're now in charge of the website. That is usually not a good strategy either.
I have a nephew.
Any family members are great.
Yeah.
Anyone. Usually the best is, and we have these services too, but you could spend a year figuring out, or at least a couple weeks or months figuring out how to integrate into Amazon. You could spend a couple months figuring out how to do eBay, and a couple months how to configure email marketing. Have a company, and this is kind of on the digital marketing side, have a company come in and set all that up for you. Work with your team. What do your clients want? Do you have subscription models? Is it a yearly event when the soccer sign up is, or whatever it might be is coming in? We need to have emails configured and ready to send out. Have somebody set those up for you. It's not expensive. It'll save you a ton of headache, and that's actually how you make money. So
right.
So basically get out of your own way.
Well put. So while you were talking, I clicked over to another sample site that you had set up, and I did that mostly for Tom and Chris. Chris, are you still there?
Yes, we're still here.
Yeah, if you could go to this website, get Tom lunch, because we promised him lunch. So a bottle of wine.
This is definitely a more of what we would call an affordable website. These guys are, they integrated into their POS system. They're primarily brick and mortar. This is not an expensive website. So you can get a lot for a little.
Okay.
So Jake, I'm going to switch over again. You touched upon, I don't know if you want to embellish a little bit further, but social media specifically. We get a lot of questions from folks that frankly are not active on social media. Similar to what you said, it takes a lot of investment of time. I'm not really sure what I should be doing on social media. Overall, simplified, what do you think the role of social media plays in this ecosystem of driving traffic to a website? Okay,
well, I'm going to bash social media, but I don't want anyone to think that it's not important. But if you're just getting into e-commerce, tried and proven, Google AdWords, Google didn't build their company, that's Google AdWords is a kind of the gold standard. Start simple, start tested, start proven, get an ROI on something, see what your ROI is for Google just basic, just standard Google AdWords. Then we could move into more. I would expand on that. And again, the market research is going to tell us what you have. Generally speaking, unless somebody has unique products or something very unique, our role would say digital marketing first, because it takes none of your time and it starts to generate results immediately. It's not the most profitable. Usually, this is a very broad number, but a 5-to-1 return on ad spend is kind of generally standard. It could be 10, it could be lower. That's just a standard number across all. Then next would be leverage your customer base that you have, your coaches, your client base. Email marketing's great. And then move into perhaps SEO if that works for you or not. Usually the last, and I love them all. I built my companies off SEO and organic search, or back in the day, it was, that was kind of the beginnings of social media. Social media is something that is risk reward. I look at it. I think once you have all the low hanging fruit in your basket, then you move into these other areas. Facebook, Instagram, yes, there's $1 million companies being built every day, but it's a much higher gamble. Takes a much higher threshold, generally speaking. And can it be done? Absolutely. Here's a 5-to-1 return on ad spend. Okay, let's get it. Okay, here's a 10-to-1. Let's go get that. Now, once there's cash flow coming in, let's move to these bigger social. So I love social. I think every company needs to get there. Generally speaking, I don't like to see people spending 20 hours a day or a week working on their Facebook or Instagram post when they have 100 followers, or, that to me seems to be a waste of internal energy, especially if you have a client base of 20,000 emails. Soccer season's coming around. How do we create intelligent email marketing? Not sending an email of something you have in the corner you need to get rid of. But, if somebody bought a size 6 shirt last year, maybe we should, the team, maybe we're sending that out a couple weeks in advance. Or if something you have it expires, vitamin subscriptions, or, the season ends, automated emails to reorder stuff. Those make money all the time and they're easy. So that's kind of where I like to focus energies. But once cash is coming in, a company like Cosbar has a significant marketing budget. They had a very low marketing budget when they started. But now the cash is coming in and they're moving into other areas, higher risk, higher reward. So yes, get to it, but not always first for most companies.
So let me also add and inject. It's surprising. That's the word I'll use to me. I'll not name the name. Last week is just an example of, again, calls we have all the time. Very large client that's been working with Team Uniform Orders for 5 or 6 years. We have encouraged, suggested, etc. Long story short, change of ownership, new branding, so basically the same company is going to be relaunched as a new company. In the discussions with some of the new owners, one of the previous owners, I made a simple point. Over the last 5 years, you have over 130,000 people in a database that we have offered to you on a monthly basis, who on average have each spent $150 per purchase. And you have never done anything to reconnect with them. So through your website, through TUO, you're doing business with people. They're taking their wallet out. They're spending money. No matter what, as Jake pointed out, if you do nothing else, put in place a marketing campaign that keeps them in your family and keeps your brand out in front. And one person's opinion, if you could do me the favor, because I think it's the most common mistake, if you're going to communicate with people you've done business with, please don't denigrate the relationship by emailing them discounts on products. Offering a sale on a 25% off, you name your brand here product is only going to denigrate the relationship. And frankly, the consumer now is smart enough to know no matter what you can discount that product, they'll find it cheaper elsewhere. So do the opposite. Put in place, as Jake said, it's not that difficult to do. If you don't have the time or expertise, find somebody who can. But at the very least, put in place a communication program, email-based, that is constantly keeping in touch with the folks who have been generous enough to say, I want to work with you, I want to give you my money. So at this point,
that ties into,
Go ahead.
One last point on that, Jerry. That is absolutely the key to success. You know, yes, Amazon and eBay are out there. They are not your friends. They, you know, and all the other marketplaces, Walmart, Sears, Chet, but they are revenue. That's strictly all they are. They're a revenue machine. Customer acquisition is absolutely critical to your business. All the marketplaces don't allow you access to customers. They encrypt the email addresses, and they know why. And here's the one thing I would say as you go back and look at your operation. Do you know, or does anyone in your company know what the lifetime value of a customer is once you make that acquisition? And my guess is most people don't. And that's good and bad. Bad that you don't know, but good that it's easy to find out. What does a customer spend per year? Just like Jerry said, how much, and then that changes your thought process on how you value those customers. That email list is probably worth a huge amount of money if leveraged correctly. Mm-hmm. You do not send them your garbage sales. It's smart email triggers. It costs next to nothing. People want stuff from you. They want you to provide a service, whatever it is you sell. But go back and figure out, even if you know per year, just take the number of clients, even if you have a bad email marketing campaign, even if you are just doing the weekly or biweekly or monthly, sale out to everybody, know that if you do it right, and that doesn't mean more money, that just means leveraging probably the email system, MailChimp or Constant Contact you already have, you could multiply that by 5 easy, but figure out, take the number of people you have in your list, divide that into the revenue and get a total for what your average yearly spend is per customer. And then say, okay, I might keep them for 3 or 4 years, as they're going through athletics or whatever it is. You got a value per customer now. How are you engaging them? That's the most critical part of building your e-commerce business, is leveraging the customers, the ones that have walked in your door, the ones that have bought uniforms from you at somewhere else, leverage them. And then you grow that customer base. That is how you succeed.
So while I have your attention, let me also point out that Team Uniform Orders maintains a large and growing library of online marketing tools that are available to you to use to help you promote your business, specifically to help you promote the fact that you are now offering custom online stores for the organizations with whom you work. I just want to mention this so that you're aware. We do have a dedicated library of a variety of different direct marketing postcard, USB postcards. What that is would be, these are all branded with your logo on it. In this example here, it actually has a paper USB that you can hand out at events. And in turn, that USB, when put in a computer, can take somebody to your website, can take somebody to a demonstration of an online store. We also do a lot of email marketing for our clients. In fact, here are some examples of standard templates and campaigns that we've launched. Again, no branding to you, 100% your brand, helping you sell and market the fact that you offer custom online stores. We also have a very fast-growing library of what we call 31-minute explainer videos. They explain in very simple, very animated terms to your prospects and clients the benefits of setting up their team or organization with an online store. All right? So TUO, if you have any interest, TUO can help you. We've got a library of tools that in turn can help you put together branded materials that you can use to market the fact that you offer online ordering. And finally, let me show you a fairly recent addition to our marketing library. Team Uniform Orders will also set up an add-on feature to your website promoting the fact that you offer online ordering for teams and organizations. This is actually a website that was set up about a month ago, specifically for a client. Similarly, it explains the benefits to your prospect, to your client, about online ordering, and it's completely branded with your logo, no mention of Team Uniform Orders. In this example here, we've even taken it so far to allow the visitor to the website to go in and actually take the first few steps in setting up their own online store. So you reach out to us, Team Uniform Orders, if you ever want marketing assistance. We have a full and growing library of materials and, frankly, insights to help you do just that. All right, here's the offer. if there's something that struck a chord today, there is no way we could cover. We have such a diversity of clients, such a diversity of websites that the clients on this call, ones that RSVP'd from one end of the spectrum to the other. One final point. If something about your website, you're not sure what to do next, you would love to confer with us further, the offer is reach out to me, send me an email, and say, I just saw your webinar, I participated in the webinar, and I would like to have 1 hour of free time with Jake, with Mike, and with you, and I would like to discuss my website with you. I would like your guidance. I would like your input. And by the way, even though the subject is websites, I hope certainly from this conversation, and Jake did a fantastic job of laying out, it's not just a website. It's the entire market. So thank you all for attending. Jacob and Mike, thank you very much for lending your expertise and sharing.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.